What's up, party people? We're Morbid Curiosities, your favorite horror movie podcast, bringing you another episode. I'm one of your hosts, Nicholas Ewers, and with me is the lightweight champion of the world, the morbid mistress of mayhem herself.
Mercedes Martinez. I swear, every time I say my name now, I kind of pause because I'm thinking of your introduction for me, and I'm like, it doesn't sound right unless he says it now. Wow, that made me sound so full of myself. I probably shouldn't have said that, but anyway, how are you doing
No,
today?
I mean, if people stayed till the end of, I think it was Final Destination, not to be mistaken with the movie we're covering today, The Final Destination, but
The
our Final Destination episode at the very end after our music, I include some bloopers and I fuck up the nicknames and I had to start over because it doesn't feel right not doing the two nicknames.
Yeah, it's weird. I always hear that in my head now when I know someone's going to ask my full government name and everything. But yeah, anyway, how are you today? You seem pretty hyped for this episode.
Yeah, I I guess hyped is a word you could use. I told you before I started recording that I was dealing with a little bit of a panic attack, so I'm coming down from that a little bit. But yeah, I'm I've been thinking about this movie for a long time actually, and I'm glad that it's finally brought to the table. I want to say I've been thinking about this movie since before we even pitched it as a season. But I mean, aside from that, like, how are you doing? How are you feeling about everything we're about to accomplish today?
I don't even know where the fuck to start. Yes, I do. What the fuck did I watch for this episode? I'm trying not to be loud and like scream in my mic like I always do, but literally, what the fuck is this movie, man? Please tell me your thoughts on this movie.
Yeah, this movie is I mean, we're hopping right into it. This is I guess we got to be quicker in this one. This movie is a real stinker. I guess that's the appropriate word to use for this movie. I was gonna use something a bit harsher,
Do it.
like this movie blows or this movie's terrible. I feel like stinker is what this movie deserves though, because it's not even bad in an interesting way. It is so uninterestingly bad. It's a real, a real stinker in my eyes. And we'll get fully into it, I guess, but yeah, that's the note I'm gonna start this thing on. What are your thoughts on The Final Destination?
But I kept saying leading up to this episode, this was the one that I didn't watch. I actually did watch bits and pieces of it before, so it is going to be the next one that we cover that I did not watch. But this one, rewatching it in its entirety, I don't have a lot of brain cells left, but I lost the tiny bit of cells that I do have remaining watching this. How long is this film? This was a good chunk of my life, an hour and 22 minutes of my life that was wasted watching this film.
An hour 22, and it feels interminably long. Like, this movie, I just wanted it to end so much by the end of it. I was like, "Come on, just
Thank
end
you.
already. Just end." And then they keep it going. I'm like, "No. Why?" And it's, I think, the shortest out of all of the ones we've watched.
And it's just so bad. I can still enjoy a movie where it has characters making stupid decisions, but this one, everyone made the dumbest decision ever. And it just does not work for me at all. This is going to be one movie that I never watch again. I hate this film.
Yeah, I think we're both in agreement. This by far is the worst in the series and a contender for one of the biggest stinkers we've covered on this podcast. It's right up there with Sinister 2 and Child's Play 3.
I would actually rewatch Child's Play 3 instead of this ever again.
I, I gotta. be there with you too because Child's Play 3 at least has a Charles, or as they call him in the movies, Chucky. I don't know. I'd rather rewatch any of them over Sinister 2, I think. So that's got to be at the very bottom of the list for me. That movie is just so nothing, but that this movie's right there with it. It feels like it was fabricated by the studio. They're bringing back the director from number 2, David R. Ellis, and it feels like a real for hire job. This movie is like there was clearly a 3D gimmick that was in this movie when it originally released in theaters that does not play well and takes away so much of like directive creativity. I mean, this guy's responsible for one of the best sequences in the series, the opening sequence of number 2. So it's like just this movie feels like such a poor faith like studio attempt to make a Final Destination sequel, and it's just turned out really fucking bad. There's like no vision to it at all.
And there are a selected few out there that actually enjoy this film. I know someone who told me they love this film. It's like their favorite Final Destination film. But this was while they were telling me they hate horrible horror movies.
Wait, wait. They said this is their favorite Final Destination movie?
Yeah, because they like horrible films.
Oh,
So
they
they like
enjoy
this one.
horrible movies? I can't
Yeah.
relate to that, but there are people out there that exist. I have, like, a distant cousin who was like, "The Room is a masterpiece," and she said that with in all, like, sincere she said it in all seriousness with so much sincerity, and I was just like, "I can't talk to you about movies anymore."
Yeah, I thought he was joking at first, but no, he flat out told me like I love shitty movies. Like he is also a fan of Seed of Chucky. He thinks that one is the best one in that franchise. So,
Well, that
he,
movie's a masterpiece, so, I mean, that's the exception to his rule, it sounds like.
masterpiece. We don't have to say it's a
Yes, masterpiece.
masterpiece. Oh my god. Okay.
We're
Whatever
throwing the
floats
M
your
word
boat.
around.
Whatever floats your boat, Nicholas. But yeah, so this one, terrible. It makes me just kind of curious how my own ranking is going to be once we finish all of the Final Destination films because so far the main one that I'm enjoying is part 3 and that means the rest of them in my eyes aren't great. So it's going to be an interesting turnout when we rate these.
I've already got my rankings kind of figured out by now, and I've got my opinions of the next one solidified a little bit, so I won't go into any detail about that, but I promise you there's a light at the end of this tunnel. Even though this is the Final Destination and it sounds like it's the last movie in the series, I promise you there's more to come. A little life gets injected into this thing.
The funny thing too is I didn't want to buy this film because I kept hearing, that this one was the bad one, even though I kept mixing it up between this one and part 5. So I just ordered it to watch it. Um but when I, hit rent or whatever, it said the Final Destination. I'm like, "Wait a minute. It was supposed to be Final Destination 4. Did I order the wrong one? I swear I clicked on the right image." And then I'm like looking it up on my phone just to double check and I'm like, "Wait a minute. This part is called the Final Destination." And in my head I was thinking, "Oh yeah, because the most recent one was called Final Destination Bloodlines." So, mini heart attack right there because I thought I wasted $4. But what a ballsy move to call this the Final Destination.
Well, 5 is just called Final Destination 5. They don't give it a subtitle or anything. They just go right back to the numbers thing like they didn't drop it one movie prior. It's weird that this one is the Final Destination. I'm surprised they didn't call it like Final Destination 3D or something shitty like that to really match how bad this movie is. But it's just the Final Destination.
Yeah, and I don't mind it when they have numbers after the title. I think when they do like the little subtitle, it's kind of weird to me sometimes. Sometimes they work, but to go from Final Destination 1, 2, 3, the Final Destination, and then Final Destination 5, and then Final Destination Bloodlines, make up your fucking mind. Pick numbers or pick subtitles.
For any of our listeners who may be confused right now, this is the fourth Final Destination that we're covering in the series. I don't know if we fully said the number, but also we might as well just drop it now. Spoilers ahead. If you've never seen this one, who gives a shit? Listen to the rest of the podcast. We watched it for you. We did the work, and we're gonna tell you everything that happens. I mean, the movie kicks off on a real high note. It opens with a Shinedown song. Mercedes, are you a big fan of Shinedown?
I'm not a big fan, but I do like their music when I hear it. They have some good bangers, but yeah, I was wondering what you were gonna say about that because I love what you say whenever there's a good opening song to a movie.
So I've actually seen Shinedown live a couple times. I didn't go for them, but they were on just like some festival shows that I went to. And I've never like fully minded their music. The song that's in this one is Devour. I actually kind of like the song. In a different context for this, I think it's just a bad choice to start this movie on. It's like, no, never just do dad rock. It's like you might as well have opened with fucking Creed, even though Scream 3 has Creed in it, and that's a significantly better movie than this. So I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I don't hate the song, but God, the combination of Shinedown and Devour, I was just like, this movie feels racist to me.
Yeah, that's actually funny because like I won't jump too far ahead, but I always watch cinema sins on movies that I like, and it makes me laugh because for every movie he drops a "that's racist" type of line when he's commenting on like whatever scene, and he does say that a lot for this one. Like, yeah, we have the one racist guy in the beginning, and then that same guy later, or no, later on, once the main character is having like his premonitions of the one guy, the security guard, George Lanter, he dies right after his premonition, and his comment was like, well, this guy had enough time to have his premonition right when the guy behind him was getting hit by a bus or ambulance, which just goes to show that his premonitions are racist. So yeah, a lot of racism.
I'll get into the premonitions in a second because I think this movie just takes them too far. But like, in regard to the racism, like, I know we're touching on this pretty hard, but I mean, there's a lot of like weird racist remarks said in this movie to the point where, like, there's a racist character who's actually like burning a cross on a black character or attempting to burn a cross on a black character's yard. He says the N word at one point in this movie. It feels very like, okay, there's a more nuanced way to do a racist. I get this is a Final Destination movie, but it felt like so jarring. And then there's an old man near the end of the movie who's about to get into a bathtub, and then he just starts saying racist shit to a Chinese man who's assisting him. And I was just like, are we supposed to laugh at this? What is happening here? This feels really weird.
Yeah, even with that part, I won't go too crazy on it, but I was just surprised because it's like, why do we keep making these comments towards different races? That's pretty tasteless to do when we're not really focusing on the topic of racism for this film. And then Like 2 seconds later, I'm starting to feel bad for this old guy just because of how he looks, knowing like, "Yo, this tub is filling up and overflowing."
I was happy to see that old guy go. I was like, "Come on, let's get this guy out of here." Like, we don't what are we doing? Yeah, kill him already. Why did we bring him here?
I think I just felt bad because I genuinely hate seeing elderly people in a dangerous situation like that just because of their facial expressions and then their feebleness. It just freaks me out. So that was the only reason why. Other than that, the guy was a dick.
Yeah, but he was racist, so as far as I'm concerned, he could, you know, he deserved that bathtub
Die.
death. He deserved to be in it and to have it fall on him at the same time, if that would have been possible.
I actually thought, he would have fell with the ceiling along with it, but yeah, that would have been a cool way to die. Anyway, back to the intro scene.
So basically, it's this big like NASCAR race, and I wrote down in my notes like David R. Ellis, he just loves his car wrecks because I mean, both times you see it from a mile away. The setup is the least believable, I think, out of the four movies that we've watched so far. It's the only one that doesn't feel scary. Not everyone's going to go to a NASCAR event. People have genuine fears of flying roller coasters and now because of Final Destination driving behind log trucks. I mean, there was probably still that subconscious fear, but now it's like been brought to people's attention and probably created a fear within people. But this one, not many people are going to find themselves at a racing event. It's a pretty niche thing. And then the way everything like, gets destroyed. Like I said, there's no, like, imagination to any of the deaths in the intro. It's explosions and, like, tires flying at the screen for 3D or poles sticking out and stabbing through people because of 3D. Like, what year did this come out in? It's, like, 2009, so this is the Avatar year. I assume it came out after Avatar because that was around Christmas time, so it probably wasn't even good 3D. I don't know if they were like if there was just in general big craze, but it felt like the whole intro just felt cheap to me and bad. And I knew we were just off to a rough start when we were at a racing track, and I was just like, okay, I could never picture myself being here.
It was such a strange setup. And then, even with our cast that we are given, they were terrible. You don't have anyone that you really like. And for me, the only face I knew was Nick Zano. Did not know the other three or even the other cast members in here, but nothing about them, like what they were saying, what they were doing, nothing made me want to continue watching this film except for the sake of the podcast. Everyone had something stupid to say. Most of the characters were obnoxious. Even the main couple, O'Bannon and what's her name, Lori, them being together, they, to me, have no chemistry at all. It's just they were being gushy for no reason. I did not like any of these fucking people in here. And not to be bogus, but Nick O'Bannon's or Bobby Campbell, I'm saying going back and forth on their names, but like he barely showed any emotion in here whatsoever. When he had his premonition, he was perfectly fine. When he was panicking, quote unquote, perfectly fine. At least in the other films, when one of the characters had a premonition, once like they snapped out of it, they were like breathing heavily, like hyperventilating, they're fucking crying or sweating. This guy shows nothing is alarming him. So, again, I didn't buy anything from these actors in here.
And to touch a little bit on something you mentioned, the chemistry between Nick and Lori, at times, I forgot that they were even dating and in a relationship. At the end, she calls him babe at one point. I'm like, oh yeah, they're dating. I mean, they don't even seem like they've fucking like slept together at all, or maybe even kissed. They seem like they're in the hand holding phase, or like they're kind of acquaintances. It's very weird. They don't seem like a couple.
Exactly. That's why when they have that little moment where her friend is like, "Oh, chivalry isn't dead after all, chivalry." And she's like, "What are you talking about? Like, I have my cowboy right here." And then she starts making out with him. It was stupid to one say that line. I thought that was such a poorly written line. And then yeah, you don't feel any chemistry from them. And then even later on there's a scene at their apartment where she doesn't have any pants on, so it's literally camera view just so you could see her pantsless. But it's like, okay, we get you guys are supposed to be a couple, but you're not selling that you're a couple.
Yeah, it that's not really sold too well. And the other characters too, just everybody except for George, I would say is pretty unlikable. Like I grew to kind of appreciate the, the mom a little bit just because of how clueless
What?
she just like her cluelessness to how like unlikable and rude she was, I found pretty entertaining. I'm like, okay, I like this character. Just I mean, the rock to the face in front of her kids, I thought was a little too much. I was like, oh man, her kids have to live with that shit for the rest of her life. But her and fucking car wash lady, I don't remember her name, Janet, her and Janet, were 2 where I was like, "Okay, I'm kind of not hating you, and you guys seem like you're the most capable actors in this thing, and you kind of are carrying it with a little bit of charisma, whereas everybody else in this movie is just a vacuum of charisma."
You see, I'm happy that the mom died. Her kids probably hated her because, she's the type of woman to say, "Oh, boys, stick tampons in your ears." Like, ew, get the fuck out of here. You deserve to die. No, your kids didn't
They
deserve to.
weren't used tampons.
But still, that's disgusting. You are setting your kids up for failure. They are going to get bullied. What if there were kids from their school at this race? What if an adult was a douchebag enough to go up to them and just start making fun of them? I don't think their mom would have been one to stop them. She probably would have laughed along with this douchebag. So, no, she deserved to die. They didn't deserve to watch their mom die, but she was probably a cunt bucket to begin with.
She had a pretty easy death. I mean, the rock to the face, she was just dead instantly. But yeah, I just kept thinking like how horrifying that would be for the kids to witness. And oh man, the casualness of the fucking lawnmower guy, the landscaper, just riding along, didn't even notice. It was just like kind of upsetting to me how absolutely pointless her death was to every single person around her.
No, like her death was kind of stupid. I wish she had more of like a banger type of death because she deserved it. Just being a service provider myself, guys, I'm an esthetician, merciless aesthetics. But the fact that, she's one of those women that's like, "Oh yeah, let me come in when they're like about to close. Let me come to get my hair done," and then just be like, "Oh, la di da, everything's like fine and dandy." You have the one hairstylist, of course, she's a goth girl and seems kind of like a bitch. That I didn't agree with because it's like, okay, she also shouldn't be like treating a customer like that just because it's getting towards the end of her shift. But this woman, how you gonna go there and like expect them to work on you and then have your kids fucking come in and wreak havoc on the place? Kind of, it's their fault. They something spilled on the ground. I forgot what it was, and one of her sons slipped on it.
It
Um,
was like some type of lotion or gel.
Okay, yeah. And then imagine what these workers felt like after cleaning that and then after witnessing this woman's death. Like, damn it. now we gotta clean this. They probably didn't clean it because that's above their pay grade, and a hazard, but yeah, she deserved to die.
So you mentioned the lady being kind of rude when she walked in. I have a quick question for you. What is your policy on walking into a place late, like right before they're about to close? How do you feel about that?
For my business personally or in general?
I guess both ends of it.
They kinda go, like, hand in hand. For places of employment, obviously, they are, worried about the business and they wanna make as much money as possible, so they have a type of late policy, and they'll still wanna see someone if they can. That bothers me because then it's like, okay, well, I have to stay later because this person was late, or that messes up my schedule if I have people after. Like, that's not fair. Because realistically, no one wants to stay working somewhere after they know they are supposed to leave. No one wants to stay late. But the attitude that you have and, give off will make or break that experience. So it's not saying, oh, be an asshole to the person who did come in late if you are still going to see them. My own personal policy is for people, and I've been lenient with it right now, but for people just to be on time. If they're a few minutes late, that's fine. But the more people that I have been booking, if someone's late, then I can only give you the remaining amount of time. If you are like 10 minutes late, then I can't see you because, someone else is after you. So this is a business. Treat with respect, or like respect the person that you're going to for a service. That way, they can give you their full time and energy that you deserve. But if you're just going to be like, oh, whatever with time, then, you're not going to get the service that you technically feel like you deserve.
Yeah, so basically, respect the constitution of an appointment, basically. I had a situation where I was going into a disc replay. I'll say the name of their place. Yeah, disc replay. I was walking in and they had 5 minutes to close, and I knew what item I was going to buy anyway. So I walk in and there's a guy by the door and he's like, hey, we close in 5 minutes. And he said it like real shitty, like, you should probably leave. And I was like, okay, means I got 5 minutes to grab my thing and check out then. Cool. Like,
Like, to
it's
me,
just so
that's
weird. It's like you're
different.
technically open. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
because to
different
me,
than an
that's
appointment.
different. Yeah, because well, one already knew what you were gonna get, so you can technically go to the section, find like the alphabetized little cardboard thingy or whatever, and then find your CD. So that's different. But for that person to be an asshole, like I said, people don't want to like stay or do anything extra, which I understand, but you also don't need to be a dick about it to the person.
I mean, maybe I deserve to have a projectile thrown through my eye and, killed instantly, but who knows? That's listeners, let me know. Did I deserve that in the moment when I walked into disc replay? Write in and let me know if I deserved certain death for that.
I choose for people to get killed in a lot of movies. I wouldn't choose death for you, man. Like in that situation, of course I
Aw.
wouldn't choose death. So, guys, back me up. What do you guys think? Should he have gotten certain death that day? Yeah, what just listen to what he said.
Yeah, but, that was a good sidebar, but anything else you wanna talk about? That's it, that's the whole movie, right? We talked about everything?
Pretty much. They just have like little tiny nods back to the first and second movies. So, we're done. We've been morbid curiosities.
Yeah. No, so, yeah, basically, I mean, before we get into more of the deaths, because I guess that's really the only thing we have to talk about, a couple of the deaths and how the movie ends, and so I'll say a couple of things that really annoyed me real quick. I've touched on both of them a little bit, and I'm curious how you feel about both of them. So I'll start with the 3D element. I feel like it just I mean, I've said it already. I feel like it totally weighed down any interesting kill that this movie really could have had because they were just hell bent on ruining it with a fucking, thing coming at the audience or whatever. I mean, how did you feel about the 3D? Did it work for you at all?
I don't really like when films are in 3D because just me personally, I don't really care to see a movie in 3D. I'd rather, experience like a live action type of ride instead of seeing a 3D film. So that on its own does bother me too. And then, yeah, just like all the digital effects for these deaths, it just looked so corny and so generic. Yeah, just so you can have, like a pole sticking out of this guy's body and you feel like, oh my God, it's coming to you, or a piece of wood or scissors, whatever. All of it was bad. I really hated that. So it did make the movie like 10 times worse because of that.
Yeah, and filter looked really weird for me. I can't tell if it was the movie or the fact that I had on my Spy Kids 3D glasses trying to get the 3D to work, but it was like blue and red the whole time. I didn't know what to make of it. I was like, "What's with this blue in one eye and red in the other?" I didn't get it.
You have those still? Oh my God, that is
No,
awesome.
I tried to buy them actually because these guys got juice back when we had like originally started was going to cover all the Spy Kids movies, and we stopped after Spy Kids 2. We realized that they were like just so hard to talk about while we were doing commentaries. It was just not what I thought they were going to be. So I didn't end up buying the I did buy Spy Kids 3D with the glasses, but the person who I bought it from canceled the order on Mercari or whatever, so I didn't end up getting it actually. But I thought it
Tragic.
was a good bit for the podcast, shout out to the Spy Kids 3 heads, that one's in 3D.
Hey, I loved Spy Kids. Not 3D, but I loved the first one. It was strange, a little random side tangent. When it came out, I don't know how old I was, but I think I was in like second grade or something. And one of my friends, I had asked her like, "Do you want to come to the movies with me?" Because my dad's letting me bring a friend, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll go." So he bought us tickets so we could see Spy Kids, and he bought us candy too, and he put his jacket on the chair next to me so he can go and see whatever other movie he wants. I'm like, "Oh my god, I feel like an adult now." And then it was just so random because I'm eating my candy and then when I look over, my friend didn't even have hers. I'm like, "Where's your candy?" And she's like, "Oh, I have it under my leg." It's like, "Why?" She's like, "I don't know." And then later once she got it out, she's like, "Do you want some?" And it was a melted like cookies and cream Hershey. I'm like, no, I don't want that. But yeah, that's what I always think of when I think back to Spy Kids.
Why your friend I mean, you guys must have been pretty young though, so it's understandable. I imagine like an adult doing this, and I was like, why would they have candy under their leg?
Yeah, I don't
What
know.
an
I think
odd
she was
place.
yeah, I think she was intentionally trying to melt it, but I don't think she meant to melt it
Ugh.
that much. Yeah, it was weird.
Has this person been thrown in jail yet for some sort of crime?
No, she's actually turned into a lovely lady. I don't
Mm.
talk to her anymore, but I do have her on Instagram, so I do see like bits and pieces, but yeah. It's an interesting upbringing we had.
Yeah, enjoying your chocolate melted. That's a arrestable offense in my book.
Anything white chocolate is an arrestable offense because white chocolate is a granny flavor.
You hear that, listeners? If you like white chocolate, Mercedes thinks you should all be round up and thrown in prison.
I didn't say all that. I just said it's a granny flavor. Why do you always have to come at me like that? That is so rude.
You're gonna stand outside of every local Walgreens with a pair of handcuffs, checking people's shopping bags. Every time you see white chocolate, you make a citizen's arrest. The local police are like, "Stop bringing people here. We're gonna arrest you."
No, man, white chocolate is nasty. I don't know how anyone gets on that bandwagon.
Yeah, man. There will be people who will like buy white chocolate Reese's, and I'm like, damn, you just bought a perfectly ruined Reese's right there. Like you just wasted your money.
Exactly.
You could have just thrown your money right in the garbage if you wanted to.
Exactly. Those are disgusting. I tried one once because my brother just loves them for some reason. I wanted to throw that shit up. So, yeah. We don't do
Yeah.
white chocolate over here. It's nasty.
Yeah, if you give me a white chocolate Reese's, I'll ask for, like, a potato peeler, and I'll peel the chocolate off of it and just eat
That's
the
smart.
peanut butter.
Hey, peanut butter works, man. It's for the gains.
Yeah. Oh, man, this is a real tangenty episode. It's, calling back to our,
Oops.
Child's Play 2019 days when
Oops.
we really didn't wanna talk about the movie.
But we got some good side tangents, I mean, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah,
Sometimes I'm like yeah,
definitely.
sometimes when we go off, I'm like, "Damn, maybe we didn't need to go that hard on, like, what we were thinking," or, like, "That story probably didn't need to be included," but this movie sucks so bad, it's hard to
Yeah.
not to derail.
This is gonna be a shorter episode, and we still gotta pad this thing out to get to an hour 20 at least or whatever. Oh, man. We can get through some of this other shit, though. My Spy Kids 3D glasses bit really ruined the podcast. We're on white chocolate Reese's somehow.
That's what they
It'll be
come
fun
here
to
for.
yeah,
Our
it'll be fun to
listen
track how we got there.
Yeah, our listeners like to hear us go off on random shit, hopefully.
Yeah.
Um,
So I had another complaint too. We can just get through real quick. I've made comments about them leaning towards like a dead zone thing with the premonitions, and they just fully do it. This character's just getting premonitions every 2 seconds. I think it's just utterly like stupid. I don't know. Sorry to like call it stupid before asking like what you think of it, because I don't want to like set you up with a criticism to a part. But I'll try to do that a little less. But you already know what I thought about this.
oh, I fucking hated that, and I'm always, like, ripping on scenes before I hear your thoughts on it, so it's okay. But, yeah, that annoyed me so much because once the second premonition happened, I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" Like, it just felt different than the other ones. So, like, yeah, the first one Alex has the first premonition, but then he was seeing signs everywhere. The second one, same director, I know. It's what's her name? Kimberly. She was having premonitions every so often. Did not care for that either. The third one, yeah, she goes back to just seeing like signs. And then in this one, I don't know, every 2 seconds he was having like a vision and even the visions were garbage.
Oh yeah,
3
dude.
They were terrible, and one thing that I thought would be cool was like, "Oh, someone's gonna get eaten by an anaconda or something," because I saw a snake in there, and it
Yes.
even like,
Yes.
the little hissing thing, I was like, "Oh, cool, what is that?" And then it was just because of the ambulance symbol, I'm like, "Are you serious? You
Mhm.
just killed what could have been a badass brutal death here."
I thought that exact same thing when I was watching it for the podcast because I had watched it with my girlfriend a couple months back, and that's when I was like, "Oh man, this one's a real stinker." But when I was rewatching it, I saw that clearly for 3D, really bad CGI shot of the snake. I was like, well, I know someone doesn't die by a snake. I was like, this is so bad. What kind of premonition is that? And I just pieced it together. I'm like, that's like a hospital symbol or whatever. I was like, this is horseshit. What kind of like his premonitions are abstract and in 3D. Oh, what? This is so stupid. And then Lori also starts seeing things too, and it's like, so now we're sharing the premonitions.
Yeah, I thought that was strange as well because it's like, all right, in the first one, at least Clear was she started to see little signs and, pick up on these strange feelings at the end of the movie. And then that's basically how she was in part two once she left that asylum she was at. But in here, it's like, okay, wait, why does his girlfriend now share the same capabilities to see what's going to happen in the future as this guy? I thought we were focusing on him. Now we're going to be following you around. Like, I fucking forgot you existed in this world. So, yeah. But the fact that their visions were in 3D, it pissed me off even more. It's like, I get it. You guys are making a 3D movie, but those are just so fucking bad.
You know what it all feels like? It all feels like some real dumb studio exec was like, "We need this needs more. Final Destination needs more. This has to be the Final Destination. It has to be in 3D. It needs more premonitions. More characters need to be having premonitions, more explosions, more of this, more." And it is just like it seems like it just is doing what the other 3 do, except it's more, and it is just bad. It's bad results because of it, I would say. Because this movie, like, a lot of the kills are a bit more, like, grand, I'd say. There's still the Rube Goldberg aspect to it, but it feels like they wanted everything to feel bigger. Everything feels more explosive in this one.
This is a perfect example of less does not equal, or less is more here. Like, they have too much going on,
Mhm.
and that doesn't mean it's going to be better. Like, that just made it way too over the top, too excessive, and it was just too much. So, yeah, I don't even think I enjoyed any kill scene in here because of how crappy and generic all the kill scenes looked.
I have 2 that I enjoyed, and they're at the bottom of any of the kill sequences that I've enjoyed like, thus far, but the car wash sequence, which I guess you could say isn't a kill sequence, I enjoyed that whole thing. That one in the end where the semi truck is going through the window, I was like, "Okay, this movie has 2 scenarios that are at least one, like, believable or memorable." Like, that car wash thing, I think, is the only thing people remember from this movie, and they probably don't even remember that it's in this movie. They probably think it's in 3 or 5 or something, and they never made a 4th Final Destination. But then just the semi truck going through the shop at the very end, the, like, final kill, that one is just something I've thought about from time to time. Over by where my girlfriend lives, somebody drove their car through, like, a Portillo's and, like, hurt and killed several people, and so that was something where I'm like, "Okay, that, like, I get that. You could have played more on that, but the movie was insistent on going big." But yeah, the car wash one I just thought was fun, and I was genuinely like, "Oh my god, get out of this because this looks like it fucking sucks."
So, I actually have a few things to say about both of those. So, with the car wash scene, that was stupid on its own because the girl Janet was clearly having an issue with her window, like the sunroof thing, not closing, and then pays for her car wash before she confirmed that her window will actually close. It was closing while she was going in there. That is such a dumb ass move on your part. She deserved to die. I was mad that she made it out. But with yes, see, I choose violence. But with the ending, how the semi truck does crash into them, and then all of a sudden it's like an X-ray type of screen where you see all three of them, like how they die. I thought that was a little cool. So I do take it back. That one was cool, but it was kind of like how they did the opening credits where they were doing x-rays of the previous deaths in all the other movies. So you saw like Todd's,
Yeah,
and the nail gun and everything. I liked seeing that because it's like, all right, well,
me
maybe the
too.
movie will redeem itself just by those little clips. No, that was the highlight of the film, honestly.
Yeah, the opening credits were the highlight of the movie. I completely agree with you there. You took the words right out of my mouth. But even like so there are 2 kills right here I'll throw out there that I think are pretty bad. The racist with the tow truck, he's going to burn the cross on George's yard, and, like, I don't know, his shit happens, there's a leak, and he ends up getting tied to his tow truck as it's moving, and a lighter in his pocket goes off, and he burns alive while being dragged across the street while, like, just a really bad on the nose needle drop ends up playing. What is it? I don't remember. It's like, "Oh, why can't we be friends?" That's what it is. And I was just like, "Okay, that is a really bad needle drop." And then,
Mhm.
the mechanic guy, you think the van is gonna back up against him when he or back up on him when he's right up against the fence. It doesn't. Then a projectile shoots at him and cubes him. I mean, we saw that in the second one, a dude gets cubed by a fucking fence. I don't know if we've seen a guy get lit on fire, but it's, I mean, pretty underwhelming to me.
Yeah, and then it was funny too because they named the racist character Carter. Why would you name another person in here Carter when there's clearly a character in the first one named Carter who's very notorious for his name because you got fucking Stifler almost in every scene saying, Carter, you dick. So why would you have an even more unlikable character with that same name in here? That kind of
See,
annoyed me.
he's just named racist for me on Letterbox. So uh, yours and my characters' names are different because we already said like the mom, her name was MILF on
Yeah.
Letterbox. We talked about that before we started recording. So it's weird the differences in these. Someone over at Letterbox really took away some agency from some of these characters.
Yeah, I just pulled up the cast on online, so that's probably why. But yeah, I don't know. I hated the mechanic's death too because yeah, okay, we had a fake out death and then his actual death was so unbelievable. It's like, okay, yeah, we like you said, we have had someone get cubed before. This one kind of reminded me of the captain's death in Resident Evil when like that laser went all crazy and then sliced him open and you just see him falling apart in the reflection of the room that they were in. Damn, I want to watch Resident Evil now. But yeah, though that scene sucked too.
Which one? The Resident Evil one or the Final
Oh no.
Destination one?
Final Destination. Sorry, I should have clarified that, but no. I love the original Resident Evil.
I wasn't sure because this movie is so good. I was just trying to think of what bad part you might have been talking about.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You too also like crappy horror films.
No, no.
Seed
That's
of
I don't
Chucky
like
is
crap
so bad. That is not a
masterpiece.
masterpiece. No, it's
It's
not.
one of our most downloaded episodes for a reason, to give the
Because
listeners a
people
peek behind the curtain.
Oh my god, okay, I'm not gonna say anything else. You have your opinion, I have mine. Mine's the more accurate one. It's okay.
If we're
It's
going
okay.
by downloads, it's the second most popular in the series,
The second most popular? Which one is the first again?
the original.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But the second? Wow, okay.
Yeah. So, hey guys, if you haven't, check out our Seed of Chucky episode. It's one of our more popular ones. People seem to like it.
Nick's favorite. Yes, Nick's favorite. Please go
Yeah.
listen.
If you want to hear me praise Glenda, finish this episode first. Though. I promise it's getting good. This episode's just about to get good.
Oh my
Uh,
god, this episode is just gonna be us laughing the whole time with how terrible this movie is.
I know. I mean, I love the spirit in this one, though. I didn't know what I was gonna say, but I mean, yeah, I think this is, I said this already on a different episode. I can't remember which one. This is like we're just walking down the memory lanes of our old episodes on this one. This is like it's like one of those episodes on TV where they just reminisce about everything that happened earlier that season. That's what this episode is for our podcast. A clip
Yeah,
show.
pretty
That's what
much.
it's called.
Pretty much. Yeah, because there's nothing good
Yeah.
to take away from this movie.
But I yeah, didn't know what we were gonna talk about, but yeah, I mean, we've covered oh, what I was gonna say is we're the best thing associated with this movie. This episode of this podcast is the best thing associated with this movie.
Everything in here, tasteless, stupid. I'm trying I'm also trying to not say, people or, works of art are stupid, but my god, this is just unforgivable with like how corny it is. And I get they
Yeah.
were trying to go like more comedy in here, but it doesn't work when you have shitty dialogue, a non-impressive
Mhm.
cast, and just there's not even a real storyline in here. When the couple, they go to, George Lanter's house to, I don't know, check on him, talk to him, whatever. And then he was trying to commit suicide apparently all day. They, come to the conclusion like, okay, well, it must be over. And then they're having champagne or whatever together, and the girl was just like, "Yeah, we're gonna do some traveling." And all of a sudden it cuts to her boyfriend packing up so they can go travel. Like, what is the time frame in this film? Because that literally looked like it was the next day that that was happening. So no good storyline to follow. Yeah, I'm
I'm
so
just
happy
stuck
we
on the
watched
part
this.
where you called this a work of art.
Oh, I didn't mean it this thing is a work of art. I just mean in general, because I know I've bashed people and movies before. I'm trying not to be mean all the time. Trying. I am failing, but I am trying.
Man, that like suicide scene with George, I just thought was so ridiculous. They walk in, he's like, "I've been trying to kill myself all day, man." I was like, "Oh my
Right.
god, what the fuck is this?" I was like, "Come on, are you kidding me?" This is so stupid. And oh man, yeah, I just thought that was ridiculous. Another thing I thought that was pretty dumb because we surprisingly have like not talked about the Hunt character much at all. Um,
Oh my
this guy
god.
sucks. This movie seems to know that this guy sucks, and it really likes to stick the audience's nose in the fact that this guy sucks. There's a point where he's like, "If we're gonna die, I'm gonna go do what I do best, get laid." And I was like, nobody would ever say that ever. It's just that's so ridiculous. That's not what anybody's the best at either. I don't think that sounds hard to know, but also, oh man, it's just ridiculous. Then there's like a 2 second sex scene in this that like you use the word tasteless to describe this movie. I mean, that's exactly what this is, the whole movie, but the sex scene in particular is tasteless. And then this guy gets his intestines sucked out through his asshole. So, um, and that's the fate of old Hunt. Yeah, good riddance. I wish I never met you.
Yeah, because at least in other films, when they do it right, you have a character that you can't stand 9 times out of 10, but sometimes, they go through a phase, they end up redeeming themselves at the end where you're like, "You know what? They're not bad," or they learn from their mistakes and they've grown from it. This guy, okay, yeah, you can tell right off the bat he was going to be annoying, and all he cared about was sex. He was even talking to Janet because I guess they dated before, like, "Oh, yeah, I like head or whatever." Then, like you said, he's about to die. So he's like, "Yeah, let me go get laid." He gets laid and clearly doesn't satisfy this girl. And then, as soon as he walks out of the little tent they were in, by the way, how the fuck are they like doing that there right in like a public area? I know they were in a tent, but like
Yeah.
they were children there. So Also very
Yeah.
ballsy to do. But then right when he exits the tent, there's another girl that passes him, and then he's just, like, all eyes on her, and it's like, "Dude, give it a
No.
rest. We all know you're a
N
piece of shit."
no way. No one's that horny. No way. I was like, "That." I don't know. This guy's just built differently, I guess. But yeah, and this is all, like, cross-cut between the car wash shit we talked about earlier, and then the 2 leads, Nick and Lori. I might say I gotta say, this character being named Nick just drove me fucking crazy. Oh, man. It was ridiculous. It wasn't as bad as when I watched Gone Girl the other day, because Ben Affleck's character is named Nick, and he also, like, intentionally sucks, but this character, like, unintentionally sucked. We're supposed to like him, and they just fucked up the assignment on that, I'm pretty sure, and you just hear everybody yell "Nick" the whole movie, and I'm like, "What? Stop saying my name." But, um all of that. So this whole pool shit is all cross cut with these two doofuses being like, "What water? What water? I see a sign about what," and it's just like, "Oh my god, like the fucking water. Okay, just get to save somebody," And they pull a real Dark Knight, actually, a year after The Dark Knight comes out. The Joker has, like, Rachel over here and fucking
Yeah.
Harvey Dent over here, and one of them is gonna die. They thought they were clever. But I saw through them. They're just ripping off The Dark Knight.
That's a clever reference, I like that. But, yeah, then it was stupid too because the Clear Rivers thing, it's like, "Are you serious?" That was such a waste of a nod to a previous character, and it's funny because I know, like, so many people out there thought at one point too, like, "Wait, is her name Claire?" But then once you see it, like, in writing, it's Clear. Why would you name a character Clear Rivers? Come on. I know people got some fucked up names these days, but this was what, 2009? How are you going to give a girl a name Clear Rivers? Not even 2009 because this is the fourth film in this movie series. So, yeah, didn't like that at all.
It reminded me of River Phoenix and Leaf Phoenix, now known as Joaquin Phoenix. I think Leaf was his original name, but it reminded me of a move like that, some real, like, hippy dippy type of shit. I didn't even pick up on that reference. That's a real good catch. But you had mentioned something earlier that I kind of, like, shifted the conversation in a different direction, but I want to go back and answer your question. So after George, like, tries to kill himself, then they have that time jump. I think it's like a week, maybe it's only a couple days. It's a very short amount of time, and I wrote in all caps in my notes. I took the time to write in all caps it by hand. Why are they so sure they made it out with exclamation points all after? Like, why are they so confident that they beat this thing? It's just ridiculous. Because then we have, like, all the bathtub shit we got into. I'll kind of yada yada some of this ending stuff, but there's another survivor, the cowboy hat guy from the beginning. He's at a hospital and he gets crushed by a bathtub. It felt like they just added it in because they're like, we have to do something different that the other movies didn't do. What if there was a guy we didn't know about? It just didn't add anything to the movie at all. And then, like, the 2 surviving girl oh, no, then walking out of the hospital after failing to save that guy, George gets nailed by an ambulance, and, oh, man, I just was like, "Come on," but you had already touched on that, and then it's basically they're at the movie theater, and there's, like, while they're like, the 2 main girls are watching what I wrote it down, Love Lays Dying, which I thought was kinda funny. There was a movie called Love Lies Bleeding that came out last year, and they said it was a rom-com earlier. I think this movie didn't look like a rom-com. It seemed like
That was a
a
full-on action movie that they were watching.
Yeah, do you remember someone said it sounds like a rom-com earlier in the
Yeah,
movie?
and yeah, it was strange. What's his name? The boyfriend in there said that to her because he didn't wanna go see it. There was no couple in there whatsoever, so it's like, "What the fuck are you watching? How is this movie titled that and, described as a rom-com, but, like, things are getting blown up in there? It makes no sense."
So then basically like somewhere in the mall there's construction going on. Maybe it's like behind the movie theater screen it looks like. But there's like a pair of sunglasses and sun is reflecting through the sunglasses pointing at this pile of sawdust that gets lit on fire. There's like paint thinner going to these barrels of flammable liquids or whatever, those catch on fire, explode, kill everybody in the movie theater. And then we find out it's just another premonition. And that's when I was like, oh, great, this movie is going to be longer. Like, for fuck's sake, it can't just end here. But I did find it kind of like a little clever that they come out of the premonition. It's like George dies again. They put the audience through that. It felt tasteless. I'll agree. Like, but it I don't know. I didn't hate that move.
I did, just because we already have a death scene where, someone's hit by an oncoming vehicle. And that was in the first one with Terry Chaney. We didn't need another one. That was just such a copycat move. And then, yeah, in that premonition, when you're seeing everything that you just described with the 3D glasses and the sunlight, I'm just like, wow, Death has like a very intricate design going on here to, kill off this entire theater room. That was way too much for this movie and or in general for that matter.
Yeah, it was very odd. You know, I didn't hate the way that that was all set up just because it's really the only time we got some kind of real Rube Goldberg setup in this movie. The hair salon kind of has a little bit of that, but this movie's so void of anything cool. So I was like, okay, I appreciate that, but yeah, it wasn't like believable. It was all so by chance. And I mean, the fun was kind of sucked out of it because it's usually all of this stuff is happening around a character and you're worried for the character while it's happening and they somehow have some kind of hand in it either by dropping a penny or throwing spaghetti out the window. But this scene is like while it's void of that, it has like half of that. So I have to give it like something, I guess, for that. But I say that half-heartedly.
Nah, I hated that whole scene, and then
I respect
even
it. I respect you hating it.
yeah, even later when or not later, earlier than that, um, I'm sorry, this one, it's not that important, but it just oh my god, it bothered me so much when Lori and Janet are going up the escalator and Lori's shoelace got stuck in the escalator. It's like, "Bitch,
Yeah,
you're starting to panic, just fucking take the shoe off and then pull the
exactly. I
thing
was like,
out."
easy fix. Such an easy fix.
Exactly, and then that whole detail where she was like, "Oh, Nick likes me in sneaks." Okay, I know damn well a guy is not going to look forward to their girl in sneakers of all shoes out there. Stupid, stupid detail.
Yeah, that is a really weird detail. Like, I've heard like, oh, this is gonna sound dumb. It's from that '70s show, but like Kelso's like, oh, every girl looks like good in a hat, and I was like, that would make sense to me because that does like to an extent change your appearance, but a different pair of shoes. That's not really altering your appearance. It just seems like you have a foot thing. I mean, maybe he does have a foot thing, and I mean, if he does, then no shame to the guy. That's not like a weird thing.
But if he has a foot fetish, you would think he would want to see her actual foot. So, like seeing her in heels or
I don't know.
something.
Maybe he's just like, I gotta dress that foot up. I want to see that foot with a shoe on it.
Like, I love the foot so much, I don't want to
He
see it. It needs to be covered up.
he likes the sense of imagination. Like, what do her toes look like in those
Okay,
sneaks?
okay, let's not talk about toes. I hate toes. Anyway.
So yeah, he rushes to the theater and tries to stop it and gets his hand nail gun to a wall and ends up getting the sprinkler system to go off, which I thought was a smart idea. I do also think the other fire probably would have gotten the sprinklers to go off. I don't know. I don't really know exactly how long those take to work or exactly how they work completely. I think there's a little piece of metal in there that like melts down from the heat that makes them go off, but I could be wrong. I did think that was a pretty clever fix. They probably just lifted it from a better movie, so I don't want to give them that much credit, but I'm also just making assumptions at this point. So, yeah, then I mean, I don't even they all make it out alive after that? Is that what happens? Like the
Uh,
chick doesn't get impaled, right?
no, the 2 girls or what's her name? Lori was telling her friend like, "No, I think we are basically about to die, whatever." And then that was when Nick came in, saved his girl. Janet was like, "No, I was meant to be here and watching this movie." And then the movie theater blows up with the couple leaving. Her dumbass like gets killed. Thankfully, I didn't like her. But yeah, those 2 make it out alive. Wait. No, 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 because that was the whole
That was the
premonition, right?
premonition?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they
Yeah,
do
they
make
make it
yeah,
out
because the
alive, yeah.
3 do survive. Yeah,
Right.
it's the
Yeah,
3 at
you're
the
right.
end.
My bad. I wish
Yeah.
she died, though, she annoyed me.
So memorable this ending is.
I know, right? I was really going in on that, but yeah, I guess they make it out alive, and they are at some coffee shop called Death by Caffeine, which I fucking love. That's like one thing about this movie that I'll take away from it. Just that name of that coffee shop. Pure magic.
That name of a coffee shop in a different movie, I think, is better, but Final Destination,
True.
it's like, "Come on, guys, why is so on the nose with everything in this movie?" But yeah, it's a 2-week jump to this period, and you see Nick. He's just, conquered death. He's extra confident, but he's also being safe. He's looking both ways when he's crossing the street. They're showing us character development there, I guess. And yeah, they end up what you said the coffee kills him in the coffee shop. That's how they go, or they end up happily ever after.
The semi truck comes in and kills them all,
Hmm.
but the coffee death would have been cooler.
If they all died drinking coffee. It's called death by coffee.
Yeah.
It might have been. I wasn't gonna say more. I won't say a more respectable decision actually, because I did claim this as one of the only good choices they made in the movie. So I guess I'll stick by that one. And the closing credits, we kind of shouted those out a little bit. Those ain't too bad. One thing I did notice at the end, though, and I want to know if you caught it on your first watch, Tony Todd couldn't be paid enough money to be seen in this thing. At least that's what I'm assuming. I don't know if they even asked him or what happened. They probably didn't ask him. They probably thought they were above it for some reason. But again, making assumptions. I should have looked this up. But Tony Todd didn't grace this thing, and I think he's all the better for it. I'm glad not to see the Final Destination on his filmography when I pull up IMDb.
I agree. That would have trashed this man's career. It would have been a dark smudge on his resume. He did not need that. I love Tony Todd, and when he's in a film, it's just like, damn, this, just him alone like brings it up so much, gives it so much or so many more brownie points. But the fact that he wasn't in here, it's like, okay, good. Because one, they wouldn't have had a good spot to fit him into this lack of storyline here. But yeah, it would have just like not done him any justice. So yeah.
Well, you got any final thoughts on the Final Destination?
The Final Destination deserves to get a swirly. And yeah, we are this much closer to Final Destination Bloodlines.
I don't know. I'm checking in my notes. This one is called The Final Destination. So I think this is the end of our season right here, guys. Stay tuned next week. We're going to be starting fucking Stephen King miniseries. I don't know. We're gonna be doing all the Cujo movies. All I think there's only one of them.
I was about to say, wait, there's multiple? I only know of
We're gonna
Cujo.
be covering Cujo and all of the fan fiction surrounding Cujo. It's gonna be 12 episodes, so stay tuned for that. No, next week we got Final Destination 5, guys. Don't worry. Don't worry. We didn't forget about the last two.
I know, you're probably disappointing people who are fans of Final Destination 5.
That would be something. I mean, like Bloodlines just came out this year, but people are like, "Wait, what? This is the last one?" You're right, listeners. They never made any more.
Don't forget to rate us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Even go on our Instagram page, morbid_curiosities_pod. Let us know how much you hate this film, or even if you like it. Like, it's, I mean, it's okay that we hate it if someone out there likes it, but hey, if someone does like it, let us know why,
Yeah.
defend it, and like, we'll have a good time talking about that too.
Yeah, no shame to you if you like this one. We went pretty hard on it. I think maybe harder than we've gone on a movie before. I don't remember you going this hard on Sinister 2, and in Child's Play 3 we went pretty hard on it, but we were pretty young. We might have been holding back. This one
Mhm.
now that we're old vets to the podcast biz, we were more comfortable to really twist the knife when we stabbed this movie in the back. And real quick before we sign off, I've just got two quick plugs that unfortunately will be buried in the Final Destination episode. And our this episode's coming out weeks after this release. So, but I have a band, Fear and Grace. We released a song earlier this week called Indigo. You can go check that one out. There's a lyric video on YouTube, and you can follow us on Facebook, I think. And then I also dropped a movie commentary with my girlfriend. We're doing just like random movie commentaries. We're probably going to do Jumanji or something next. Not as like focused or serious as this. I don't think we really start talking about the movie until the back half, but we have an episode on the 2016 Blair Witch if you want to give that a view. I know we're not typically a plug podcast, so you won't be hearing a plug segment from me too much, but if you can, go give those a listen and, follow the YouTube pages for those because the commentary we didn't work that hard on, but the Fear and Grace song we did put a good amount of work into. So if you could check that out, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, guys, show Nick and his girl and his band some love out there. And stay tuned for the next episode.
We've been Morbid Curiosities.
Let's go.